Strategy number 7 is, what are you counting? So in other words, what are we measuring to assess how people are engaging with Jesus during this time? What are our metrics when everything has changed overnight, right? We're in the middle of pandemic and isolation and economic challenges. And so the things that we used to count and measure perhaps aren't quite as relevant right now, right? We've completely overhauled the way that we are encouraging people to connect. And so though you can count, you can look at how many people are connecting virtually to the thing that's online, right? But I mean, that can't be our only metric for if people are connecting with the church, right? And families are reeling, and lots of people are out of work right now. And so we can't really use how much offering is coming in the offering plate as a way to measure how much they're engaging in church or, engaging in their walk with Jesus. And so again, what are we counting? What's our metric? What are we looking at there? As we look at the things that Jesus counted and measured, it was always disciples. That's what he was counting. That's what he was measuring. And so as you're looking at how Jesus measured that or how he counted it, it was always having to do with their journey in growing and maturing in their journey with God. So how do we measure that in this season? Could we put some language to the way that people are engaging with Jesus during this season? Does that offer us a different, more helpful metric? So some examples. Is there a way that we could possibly measure or count people's creativity around what mission looks like right now, and how people are thinking about their neighbors or those that live in close proximity to them, and how they're, creatively reaching out and caring for them and making sure that needs are met? Can we measure that? Could we find a way to measure how people are growing in their ability to hear God's voice and take radical steps of obedience? How can we measure that? Could we measure how people are creatively connecting with each other or reaching out to people, checking in? Could we measure the leaders that we've invested in and the ones that we're encouraging to step out and lead? Could we measure how our leaders are doing at taking courageous steps of leadership in their circles of relationship? Could we measure families that are learning how to spiritually parent their kids and those living in their household during this season? Could we somehow measure households that are developing new predictable patterns in this season that recalibrate how they're living the ways of Jesus? I wonder how we could put language to measuring those things that elevates discipleship more than counting numbers that feels a little bit elusive or irrelevant right now, right? There truly has never been a better time for you to let your vision and values shape your vehicles and your valuation. Your valuation is what you count. So in other words, as you're putting language to your vision and you're naming the things that you truly value, you can build around that. So this is an opportunity it's open season for a reset, right? And if discipleship and mission are high on the priority list, and if you've been wanting to reorient everything that you do in some way to help people become disciples and live a missional lifestyle, to grow the character and competencies of Jesus, rather than simply being an organization that produces spiritual goods and services for people to show up and consume, there's never been a more open invitation for you to do that. The entire world has changed. And so as you're putting in place virtual ways for people to worship, for them to connect, cast vision for why you're doing it the way that you're doing it by using simple language that helps people connect what you're doing to the ways of Jesus. That's the language piece. It's so important. Language creates culture, right? And so use the language of your vision and values often. Repeat them, say them over and over again, and put language to what you do want to measure during this season that more accurately represents a measuring stick for how people are engaging with Jesus and growing in their faith and maturity during this time. All these things that you're resetting and reorienting, they can set you up for the new normal, whatever that means, that's coming into the future, right? So again, you've been given a beautiful opportunity for a reset. So create this new normal around your vision and values. There's truly never been a better time.
That's awesome, Gina. Another thought that came to me is that you tend to report what you value. And in this season, wouldn't it be great to be doing some video testimonies of people telling stories about what they're doing that does reflect your vision and values? And that would be a way of sort of saying, this is what we count, basically. Yeah.